Yeah, we can start. Yeah, we can start.
Good evening, everyone. Went to the sessions of the sweet silent thought.
Yeah, we can start.
I summon up the memories of the years passed with my students. In the long procession of the brilliant students, today surface the names of the happy minds of the architect of the company THB, Technology, Healthcare, Biodata Analytics. Akansh Khurana, Rakesh Pacha, Kritika Tandon, Inder Singh Kochar of Novartis. Akansh Khurana, a co-founder, a co-founder and chief executive officer at Technology, Healthcare, Big Data Analytics. Briefly, THB was a 2006 triple ITH computer science batch student. He holds MBA from London Business School. Akansh has worked as a management consultant with Bain and Company in India and Boston. He has also worked as an investment professional with Helion Ventures, Abras Capital, and Anismore Capital in India, Dubai, and London. Rajesh Pajar, a 2006 batch student of IIITH, is the co-founder and chief technology officer at THB. Rajesh holds master's degree from BITS Pilani. Rajesh embarked on his career with NVIDIA, where he built multimedia solutions. He also worked with Microsoft Big Team, where he built big data processing pipeline and search indexes for places search. Kritika Tandon, the chief operating officer at THB, was gold medalist of 2008 batch. She holds MBA from IIM Lucknow. Kritika started her career with Yahoo and then moved to management consultancy. She has been a consultant with McKinsey and Areta Advisor. She has also worked for Suboran Diagnostic, a leading Mumbai-based diagnostic company. Inder Singh Kochar. Inder Rishi Singh Kochar. Inder Rishi Kochar is the Executive Director, Data Products and Enablement and Novartis Oncology, New York, and is a computer sciences student from IITH and MBA from ISB Hyderabad. Inder embarked on his career with Cisco. Thereafter, he moved to work for Novartis and is currently working for Novartis Oncology. While at IIIT, he was extremely active in sports, especially football, and was a student and in the student parliament. I, I I rejoice to see them flourishing. My cut and dry introduction may not quite encapsulate their persona. For that, I'll have to give a brief personal touch. About a year back, I was at Gurgaon, where the company is unincorporated. I informed Khurana and Kritika, since I knew their number, that I would be there. they were kind enough to spare their time and to come over there to see me and talk for a while. I was deeply touched by their exuberance, their regards, admiration, and if they will permit me to use the word love for me. More than me, some of the wedding guests who were around were dazed. They had a different impression of the students that they gleaned from the papers. I told them IITH students are different. We are different. I now invite Inder Singh Kochar to anchor the program. Inder Singh,
Thank you.
please.
Before Inder goes online, I just want to say, Dr. Kaul, thank you, and not just love, we adore you. When the team, Meenakshi and the team were asking us who would you want to do introductions for us, the first name that came to all our minds was Dr. Kaul. You got us started at Triple IT. You are always the first person who we all meet. You've been extremely kind and nothing but given us love, affection all the time. So thank you for doing the introductions. It's an honor to have you and introduce us.
Thank you, Professor Kaul. Hello, everyone. It's very exciting to host this session and connect back to the Triple IT family. Healthcare data ecosystem is such a complex and interesting space, so I'm very curious to learn about the THB journey. Also, it's a pleasure and a privilege to share the stage with some of my friends and mentors from Triple IT, so I'm very excited for this session. So before we get into THB, maybe we can start with your journey post Triple IT and how it got you to THB. Akansh, do you want to kick us off?
Absolutely, and thank you, Inder, for hosting us. It's brings back some of the old Triple IT memories. All of us overlapped during the 4 years that we spent our times on. But just quickly, I'll take like 30 seconds to share what I did post Triple IT. In Triple IT, we had, the computer science careers are an obvious choice. I think I kind of took a little bit of a detour. I decided to not pursue a computer science, computer engineering, coding track. I knew I wasn't the best at it. In fact, I'm only shying away from saying I was very sub-average at it. But I decided to take a path where I thought I could do better. So I took a management consulting route. I joined a global consulting firm called Bain & Company. Worked there for about 6 years. Learned a lot about business. Learned about how industries function, how businesses work. Worked with large organizations, mostly all Fortune companies. Went on to do my MBA at London, spent some time in London and followed by that in Dubai, and then came back to India to rejoin Bain, where I worked before MBA. Bain was kind to sponsor my MBA, so I had a commitment to come back, work for a couple of more years. So I worked another 2 years, fulfilled my commitment, and that's when the whole entrepreneurial bug bit me and all of us. So that's when we decided to start THB. 2015 is when we got on to founding the company. It took us about 2 years after that to get onto the track of the business model that we're working on, but we'll talk about more during the call. But that's been my journey since Triple IT.
Thank you, Akash. Very exciting. Rajesh, how about you?
So talk about me. So I have been in the tech journey since I left the college. So I worked in NVIDIA first. So NVIDIA is a chipset company. I worked in their mobile chipset unit. So it was all about how new chipsets comes to life, how they onboard new operating system, device drivers, how the entire component comes together and you are able to ship new hardware in the hands of people. So it was a lot of learning involved there, and it was a lot of fun as well while working at NVIDIA. I learned a lot about multimedia use case, how audio and video playback works, how video recording works, how you can build the smart augmented reality use case where you have the green screen in the background and how you can play with the animation in the front. So that was a great experience working at NVIDIA. Then I moved to Microsoft. There I worked in Bing local search team. So it was a completely different game when I moved to Bing. It was all about how the search engine works now. So it was from the hardware space to now in the search space. So again, it was a great working experience with Microsoft in Bing local search team. So Bing local search team also worked as a startup environment because they were also growing and competing with with Google in the search space, who is the leader in the search. So there I worked on how the different data pipelines are written to power the search, how indexes are built. I worked on especially on the places search. So that was a great experience. Worked in Microsoft for around 3 years. Post that, in 2015, we started journey with THP, and it's been now 5 years. I've been building what I love to do, building more and more technology every day. That's about me.
Thanks, Rajesh.
Just adding on one layer of context on top of what Rajesh undermines and understates himself all the time. The reason why I could clear Triple IT is because of Rajesh. He was literally my project partner and everything, and he's the one who wrote all the codes. And since then, back in NVIDIA, Microsoft days, he was a couple of sort of batches ahead of his seniors in the engineering, right? So he was always doing so well at NVIDIA and Microsoft that he was always ahead of his peers, his seniors as well. So fantastic. I tell everyone he's the top 1% CTOs in the country. So that's one line summary of Rajesh.
Thank you, Akansh. Thank you.
Awesome. And Kritika, before I go to you, I have a public acknowledgement to make. Thank you for sharing all your class notes in Triple IT. I owe a lot of my degree to you. Not just my degree, but a lot of OBH owes their degree to you. I think your meticulous notes especially helped us on the last day of exam preparation. So thank you for that. So Kritika, you've had both like a tech experience and a business experience post Triple IT. Walk us through that.
Okay, I think besides the people at OBH who sometimes thank me for the degree, there's much to thank of that photocopy guy also, because he would just keep a copy of my notes and keep selling them without me even knowing. So I think he's also made some money out of that. But from my journey perspective, while during the third and the fourth year of college, I had kind of realized that probably technology is somewhere where I may not be the best at in terms of building a career. However, with the campus placements, I joined Yahoo, and in the first couple of months, they wanted me to fix some bugs. And I said, this is not what Triple IT has probably geared me for. And that's when my decision to say that, I need to move out of tech kind of strengthened. And I moved to a boutique consulting company right after spending just a few months at Yahoo. And went on to do my MBA from IIM Lucknow, and then started my career with McKinsey. I spent a lot of time doing management consulting, healthcare advisory, healthcare hospitals, performance improvement. And, once after having done the consulting and advisory role, I really wanted to get my hands dirty and see things being put to action. So I moved to a Sequoia portfolio firm in Mumbai by the name of Suburban, working completely on transforming their profitability, cash flow improvements, etc. So that was my journey until 2018. So by that time, I had obviously picked up a little bit of tech, a little bit of healthcare advisory, and also on-ground operations. So I thought that all of these three could be combined well and put to good use at THP.
Thanks, Kritika. That's very exciting. Great. So now we'll jump into THP. So Akansh, what is THP? What problem are you trying to solve, and what got you here?
Yeah, no, it's I love talking about this all the time. We talk about this with our investors, with our potential investors, with our customers, within our teams. Keep everyone excited about what THP does. And always looking forward to, I can wake up from the middle of my night and say what THP is in one line. But effectively, I think the world is talking about healthcare data. The world is talking about healthcare technology, and how healthcare is actually one of the most laggard sectors in adoption of technology, digital, and data use cases and applications. And we realize that the biggest value addition is in working in a segment that's probably the most laggard. And our entire thesis started off saying people have the data sets, hospitals have data, diagnostic labs have data, uh, and primary clinics have data sets, but no one really knows what to do with that data. And we said that we will build a suite of products and applications to help all of these customer segments, hospitals, uh, insurance companies, diagnostic labs, home healthcare companies, all the customer segments who are creating data on healthcare. We will build application suite to help them deliver value from that data. And that's how we started. And that's how we started thinking about saying, what are the kind of applications and use cases we can actually deliver for these healthcare enterprises. And then it's been a journey since. We work on 3 or 4 broad use cases and applications. One of the things that we do is, how can a patient's data be used to deliver extremely hyper personalized care for that patient? Can we use patient's data to identify what are the risks that he could be suffering from? What are the behavioral changes he needs to do to improve his health? What are the comorbidity conditions he should be aware about? What are the side effects of the drugs that he should be aware about? Really sort of pick up a patient data and drive all the personalized care for him. That's one big use case that we work on, and we have a fantastic product suite on that. Then we have a second use case that we work on, which is all about how do we use data to deliver research. Frankly, I don't think at IIIT I understood the meaning of research, which is what IIIT had always sort of promoted and focused on. But when we started working with THP, we realized how healthcare data can really be used to deliver medical research. And we've published about 100 papers now. We've done everything from cancer to diabetes to cardiovascular to vector-borne diseases to COVID-19 to preventive health. We've done everything in healthcare, acute to chronic to specialty, super specialty. We've done something on rare diseases. It's all about how do we use data to deliver research. So these are the kind of use cases that we have a bigger application suite, but the idea is how do we work with people who have data to help them deliver value from that data.
Great. And when you say patient data, what are you talking about and where do you get this data, Akansh?
So let's say Akansh as a patient goes to care hospitals in Hyderabad. Akansh as a patient goes to care hospital. Now what he does is he meets a particular doctor. He gets himself registered. He meets a particular doctor. He could do a diagnostic test, or he could buy medicine from the pharmacy at the hospital, or he could do an ultrasound, or he could even get an admission. There are a series of sort of transactions he's doing with the hospital. As a result of that, there's data getting generated about Akansh, right? He's a 35-year-old male. He bought, let's say, an insulin. He went to meet an endocrinologist. He did an ultrasound on his stomach, and so on and so forth. Now, given all of this data that you know about a patient, and in some cases we'd have hundreds of parameters of a patient, in some cases we'll have fewer, but given this data of a patient, of let's say Akansh, what all can we tell him once he's left the hospital? Does he need to know about how to use his insulin? Does he need to know about what are the side effects? Does he need to know when he needs to contact his doctor on an urgent basis? Does he need to know the other diseases he could be at a risk of? Does he know about just general sort of wellness related things to take preventive actions and make behavioral changes? So that's where the data comes from, and those are the kind of recommendations that our system generates. And this is a proposition that care hospitals offers to Akansh. So we are selling our platform to the hospital who has the data, who's giving that care to a patient using our software.
Nice. I think you talked about how do you collect and connect the data from various sources and sort of track a patient longitudinally. It's so exciting to hear and interesting to hear, because no matter the geography, I mean, even in the US, that's the primary problem that we are also trying to solve in terms of how do we connect the data that we get from various sources and sort of track a patient longitudinally so that we can do studies on the patients, where do new patients come from, what are the comorbidities, etc. So it's very exciting to hear that there are similars between what we're doing in the US and what's been done in the India, though the markets are so totally different and the organization of the market is completely different as well. So I think you talked about a number of use cases. Were you very clear on the use cases from day one that this is what we're targeting? Or did you have considerable pivotal moments in your organization's journey where you started somewhere, then pivoted and then pivoted? How did you land up to where you are today?
I think an early stage company is all about soft pivots anyways, right? So, I'd say that soft pivot defines an early stage company. That's why they are so agile. That's why they are so quick decision makers. That's why they're able to smell the right opportunity and go after it. So, early stage companies are all about soft pivots. But if you ask me, I think we did some very big hard pivots. We did these very big hard pivots back in 2017. We started off as a company where we thought we will give care to patients directly. And we started this whole model of giving care to patients through a patient application, through a patient mobile app. But then we quickly realized that acquiring a patient, collecting the data is extremely hard. And that's when we said, no, I think the best way of doing it is patients are already walking into a doctor's chamber and a hospital and a diagnostic lab. If we can work with them, we'll be able to fast track this care delivery to a patient through the enterprises who are already serving patients. So that was the biggest pivot that we did. After that, it's only been extensions, soft pivots, and so on and so forth. So the biggest pivot was B2C to B2B. So from a consumer facing to a business facing enterprise. But after that, it's only been extensions, feature extensions, offerings extensions, module extensions, twisting the value proposition to use the same solution for an insurance company. So I wouldn't really call them pivots, but they're like soft pivots extensions that we've been working on.
Awesome, great, thanks. So Rajesh, I'm sure technology had a lot of role to play in the journey of THP and the pivots that you made. So maybe talk us through some of the technology challenges that you're trying to solve, and how has the technology journey been at THP?
So when you rightly said that the problem about healthcare, they are similar for India, US, for any other country. But what is unique about India is that the data is very segmented. Every player has their own kind of software. So one challenge that we always face with the healthcare in India. So every client is unique by himself. We do try to create a unique pipeline for them, try to unify data in structured manner. But whenever we go to any client, any partner for data onboarding, they have their unique set of challenges. So that is definitely one of the unique things that we are working. Plus, while we are working with the in agile, super agile manner, I won't even call it agile manner, in super agile manner. So there's always a clock in front of you that you have to deliver this X many days, X many hours. So that is quite challenging. I remember still my early days when I was the sort of kind of only programmer in the company. So it was always clock in front of me. Okay, we are going to client meeting. We have to get it done in X many hours. We're already there. We're just not waiting outside, get it deployed. So it was always getting it done on the time, getting it working, ensure it keeps working, because still I have software which I had written in 5 years back when we were doing initial work, and they are still running, and we have still maintained them, keep up, even though we have moved a lot from them from that time. So we built many different components, many offerings, but still the offering of year 0 and year 5 sort of all are working together. So we have to keep everyone up, everyone happy, because even if you get a downtime over there, they will still get a call. Okay, these things are not working. So that's a great challenge. But it has been lots of learning because if I talk about my last experience, I've worked in different industry. I've worked in chipset industry. I've worked in search industry. Now application domain, web development. So these were new when I started. So I had to catch up a lot. But I think the journey has been great, working on different clouds, different vendors, different integrations, building web solution, mobile solution, app solution, data pipelines, challenging, solving healthcare data problems. So it has been great learning experience so far, and I've been learning every day. Even now, I have to keep learning. So if I look at my sort of reading habits, so I've been reading a lot now compared to what I was doing in college time. Even like now, 15 years of my career almost now. But every day I have to learn about new technology, new framework, new tools, what kind of things are working. Because if you look at technology landscape, even though problems are shifting slowly, but technology landscape is changing a lot. Every couple of years, you get new sort of tool set which enable you to develop faster, deploy faster, have different kind of landscape on the technology, and the problem scale is also changing. You get the patient engagement methods are changing. People want to engage on different mediums. So the personalization levels are changing. They want to have machine learning, AI embedded into it. So there's so many things that you have to work on, and so great overall.
Awesome. I'm
No,
sure
and
the crazy dead. Sorry, Akansh, go ahead.
No, I was just building on to what Rajesh was saying that there's this 10,000 hour rule, right, which says that you become perfect in 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
I was doing the math actually one day. I was standing in front of a client, and the client was kind of telling us how he's a large customer, and I was telling him saying that our CTO has spent 20,000 plus hours doing software development and coding in this domain that we've been doing. So don't tell us who's the perfectionist here. Our CTO is the perfectionist here. He spent more than 20,000 hours over the last 5 to 6 years. Every day he codes every single day, right? And he has a big team now, but a lot is still dependent, right? So we've done a lot of work over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, I'm sure being hands-on is fun, and Rajesh, with all the crazy deadlines, I'm sure it reminded you of Triple IT days where there's a deadline at 2 a.m. at midnight that you have to submit, and then you're chasing that deadline. So thank you for sharing that. So Kritika, moving on to you. You joined the team, I think 2 years later, right? Post that they had started. So was it just that you were missing Akansh so much that you wanted to join him in the workspace, or was there a different motivation? I'm kidding. What was your motivation to join THB, and what are some of the executional challenges that you're trying to solve?
So that it doesn't sound controversial, you have to first set the context that I am married to Kritika.
Good point. I didn't think about that. Now that I replay that in my mind, thank you for setting that context.
So I don't know who was missing who more, and now if if they reflect back, was it a good decision to get me on board? Because I think in there everybody knows what kind of a working personality I am, and I can make people sit and work and miss their lunches and dinners also. So, but the decision to move to THP was part personal and part professional. I wouldn't deny that. By the time it was 2017-16 when this one of the soft pivots had happened, Akansh was spending considerable time in Mumbai and Delhi and traveling, etc. So we were actually living two cities. I moved to Mumbai to try and spend more time with him where he was. But then we had to kind of take a personal call to finally settle down in one city. And also I think the stage at which they had reached in 2018 with the first institutional round. So imagine this, Akansh is doing all the selling of something probably Rajesh will code and develop in the next 1 month. He's already sold what is to be made, and Rajesh is busy making the code, and Rohit, their third co-founder, is busy doing big data analytics and what to find the use case of. But we realized there was a lot of element around housekeeping, right? Saying the operations, the processes, the trainings, the structuring of the teams, and how do I set the house in order? And thankfully, I understand the technology. I had been on the ops side as a provider, so that was the right time and mix for my skill set to join them. And obviously, I think at some stage I was partly jealous also of them. So if I remember the time in 2015 when in fact in the U as well. So when you guys started to make this patient-facing app, right? And that was the first deadline I think Rajesh would have chased, saying, no, we have to go live with our patient-facing app tomorrow. It's like a deadline we've taken for ourselves. And Rajesh has always is like, all of you guys are coding and kind of crashing, and so I was partly missing the fun of being able to do something of your own, work with people you enjoy to work with also. So I think that was a good blended opportunity for me.
And then I can
Thank you.
always win some brownie points by saying that I was missing Kritika. So that was another reason. I think it's much easier for her to understand my schedule now that she's part of the system. I was always on the move. If COVID wouldn't have happened, I would have still been on the move. I'd probably be doing this call from an airport or something. But I thought having Kritika as part of the system was not only having a great asset. Frankly, recruiting a gold medalist of IIIT Hyderabad is impossible, right? The only reason she did is because she had a soft corner for her husband. So that's the reality.
I think you guys got lucky there. So you've been on this journey for over 5 years now. I'm sure you've had some hard moments where you said this is not working and let's quit it and stuff. Walk us through some of those times, if you had any of those times.
I'll go last.
Maybe I'll put Rajesh first then.
Definitely, the working in startup environment can be challenging mentally, physically, and for the family also. It puts lots of pressure. So there are some temporary moments at times when like you get very tired, and family also get little tired. That so how many hours, how many days you'll be keep working like that because you're not focusing on family. There's no family time. So. But those are kind of phases. So you have to figure out time for family in between so that they are also comfortable. So that is my bit around it. So I think now it's been 5 years. People also now understand what kind of things we are building, what we are doing. So they also it's like family support has been very crucial for this. If families because family can understand what we are doing, why we are doing, what will become in ultimately. So that becomes lots of that gives lots of strength to keep doing what we are doing and continuing the journey.
Very good. And Kritika, how about you? Any such moments for you?
Lots. I mean, I am emotionally a very wide spectrum person. I fling between extreme love and extreme anger very fast. So if somebody were to ask me, do you have these low moments and do you have these quit moments? I have a plenty every day. I get off a like a supremely taxing call with a client, and I'm like, this IT guy, why can't he understand this? And the first phone call I made to Kanchi, listen, I'm quitting. I can't handle people like this. So, but those are my moments which happen, I think 365 times a day. So, but I think, so in a startup environment, what happens is there's a lot of action bias, right? We don't like to waste time on sitting and deciding and doing committees and presentations and discussions, right? You hear something, you realize something is missing, and you take an action on it, right? So the speed is fast, and therefore sometimes when we have these moments of low, when maybe a deal is not cracking or the thing is not working, you have to quickly overcome it, right? So I know for a sure, right? This thing is breaking, this code is breaking, I'm doing a demo. I was like, why is this not working? And I'm not going to do this, and immediately I can go and call Rajesh, and I know it'll be fixed in about 30 seconds time. So I think that vigor and that being at it is important, and I think that keeps us, at least me, in the flow. The energy and the speed is so fast. I don't think I have an iota of time to sit back and say, what am I doing? Why am I doing? I'm already keyed into it. So I think that's
hard work always has kept you in flow, so that's not surprising.
Yeah.
So Akash, as CEO, not only do you have to carry your emotions, but also the team's emotions. You have to make sure that everybody's doing well. But have you had sort of some tough moments where you were down, and how did you pick yourself up, or how did your team pick you up?
So, see, I'll be honest. I've never had a single second of doubt in my mind that I even a thought that I would quit. Right? Never, never, ever for a split second either. Uh, there have been hard moments. I'll tell you some of the hard moments we've had, but none of those hard moments I ever had to go down to a level where I thought we'll quit or I'll quit or what are we doing, right? Uh, and I'll be honest. I think families played a very big role. Not only my own sort of personal family, but uh, I think my triple IT family has played a lot of role. My friends have played a lot of role in this. Just to give you few moments, right? I think it makes a huge difference having Rajesh and Kritika by my side. Rajesh is my I call him brother from a different mother. But he's been my best friend. He's probably my only best friend actually since college. Uh, we used to stay two rooms away in old boys hostel, OBH. I don't know what it's called now, but OBH back in the day. And we've been friends since. Having him by my side, I know that I can shut my eyes and he won't let me fall. Uh, Likewise with Kritika, she's now part of THB. She understands what we go through. She's had her emotional moments, but I know that she's by my side all the time. And many people don't know this. Our first office was in the basement of one of my triple IT seniors, uh, Ankit Bhargav. I don't know if people remember him on this call, but our first office was in his basement. My first angel investor was a triple ITN. Uh, my, you know, so my brother-in-law is a triple ITN. My brother-in-law's wife is a triple ITN. So we've had lots of triple ITNs actually in our blood, and that's why I say triple IT family, right? And on a personal front, my parents are investors in my company, so that kind of kept us afloat. So we've had tough moments, but I think the point I was trying to make is that family has been by my side, and I think that keeps me rolling and pumped up. But hard moments, we had dried up with funds at one point in time. We knew that the funds are going to come, but we were 1 month short, right? I needed temporary funds from someone, and also incidentally someone from triple IT helped me with those temporary funds for that 1 month. So we've had tough moments like those. We've had tough moments where customers ridicule us. They say that they are billion-dollar companies. Why should they talk to an early stage company? They have 50 PhDs sitting with them, and we only have maybe 50 engineers overall. There have been tough discussions, tough moments. My first meeting in Dubai, when we launched a Dubai office, was one of the worst meetings I've ever had. I've hated myself after those meetings. I've hated myself on and had to really eat up my self-respect to be able to survive. But as I said, family's been by my side. I know I can trust the people around me. I can be out there selling, and I know things will get done. That keeps me moving. I've never had an iota of doubt that or a split second thought ever that this is not the right decision. I think we're doing great, adding a lot of value, and there's a great roadmap ahead of us.
So obviously, I mean, I have two sort of follow-up questions from what you said, but I'll start with the triple IT part first. So obviously, triple IT, the bonds that you made at triple IT brought you together into this venture. Uh, uh, any examples from you, Kritika or Rajesh, in terms of how triple IT shaped your entrepreneurial journey and helped you get to where you are today?
So, like I have been techie through and through. So triple IT was the first page where like I first actually touched computers. Before that, I never had done anything on computers. For like I still remember my first class. Like when I joined was day 2 or 3. I don't remember what day it was. It was Dr. Govind Rajlu's first class, and he was teaching recursion. And it was like for me all bouncers. But that day now, so I think IIIT has added a lot of value because all the fundamentals are the way of thinking, the peers which were there in the college. So so together we learned and did lots of things about the OS fundamentals, computer science, how it works. So definitely. So it has been part of it. Will always be part of my learning journey. That still I am like the college batch is still in touch. We still talk to each other, figure out what other people are doing, how are they solving their problem, what kind of challenge they are facing in their companies, and what we are doing, what kind of challenge we are facing. So we're still learning. So that's about it. Must say. Yeah.
Kritika, anything from you? You've always been an entrepreneur within IIIT as well. You're always into multiple things. So anything that you learned at IIIT which you're applying right now?
Yes, I think one of the points that Rajesh touched about the fundamentals, right? And I think, sorry, I'm a little muggu, so I'll remember every course and every assignment of mine. So I think the course with Intel that we did with Professor Jawahar, the first data structures and algorithm, where we would get this every Monday assignment, which was like a nerve-wracking problem, and you have to solve it. And even after you solve it, the algo is approved once you upload it on a portal made by the system administrators of IIIT, Nirnimesh, Sunir Mohan Ranta, and Tarun, right?
Yeah.
So your job is not done even after you've written the code, right? It has to pass their test cases, pass their optimization. So I think that, yeah, and I remember it used to marry and match different people's algorithms, and if it looks like a copy, then it used to get rejected. So I think that rigor of problem solving, I don't think I have come across any of my friends from any other college who have undergone that rigor of coding and problem solving, right? So I think that set us the fundamentals of thinking. I think the second, in terms of even when I joined Yahoo, or obviously I don't apply so much of tech now, but I think the confidence, right? So it's a debate whether how the computer science courses should be, whether they should have that first year mechanical, etc. But the fact that we were completing OS by year 2, and then we're doing computer vision and PR in year 3 and 4, which none of the other colleges offer, right? That used to give us a lot of confidence on we are set apart. And I think third, it's more like, I think IIIT was a very liberal campus. I don't remember being told that the lab is shut or the library is shut. We used to go and sit in the lab until 2 a.m. We could code that time. So it was a very liberal and open environment, which also kind of opens our windows on how possibly an international university be, unlike some of other colleges which we hear time lockdowns, 9 p.m. get back to hostels. So it was fairly liberal. So I think those are the things that stay with me. And one last point, and I say this because I think it was a huge debate amongst many of us who were doing BTech but had decided to do an MBA, right? And we used to have this constant struggle of saying, we are not doing so much extracurriculars and other things. But I think IIIT made us focus on what matters most, right? And now we reflect back and see that they made us focus on what was right. So I think those things stay with me, and I kind of always reflect back to IIIT in terms of that philosophy for every day.
Right. I think for me, if I look back, I've worked post IIIT, I've worked in various companies in India, here in the US, went to ISB, but I think still IIIT was the most humbling and the hardest experience in terms of academics for me, because like you're in the company of some of the smartest people in the country, and just the sheer number of assignments that you have to go through, I think it puts you in the right place for future success. So I can totally relate to what you said. So I have a lot of other questions, but I know we need to get to Q&A. So I think we'll probably wrap up with 2 questions, and I'll give you the choice in terms of how do you want to kind of answer it, and we'll go round robin again. I think one would be any quick advice to current students of IIIT who want to get into entrepreneurship. But before that, maybe we'll all talk about a little bit about some of our cherished moments or something that we most remember from our days at Triple IT. And Akansh, maybe you can kick us off.
No, absolutely. I think I'll answer both. On entrepreneurship, I think the one thing that I've learned is that none of us are born entrepreneurs, right? To be honest, until about a month before we started, I had no idea I was going to do entrepreneurship. I had no idea about it. I always wanted to be partner in Bain and Company. I was very clear. I was great at consulting. Clients loved me. My partners loved me. I knew I will be a great partner at consulting firm, and that's what I wanted to be. Uh, until there are moments when you kind of just start to step back and think, is this all you want to do in your life, and you want to do something different? And a lot of the other peers were doing entrepreneurial things. Many of them have built unicorns now, and I thought maybe I should just sometimes step back and think about what's out there and pick that up, right? So I think sometimes this question is extremely hard, saying, do you prepare yourself for entrepreneurship? I don't think you need to prepare yourself for entrepreneurship. You really don't, right? As far as your fundamentals are strong enough, I think my fundamentals from Triple IT were strong. My fundamentals from in fact, Triple IT, I may not have been the best programmer, but I think Triple IT gave us the opportunities of building a little bit more sort of multi-centered personality, right? I was the class representative for almost the entire 4 years of my batch. I was the cultural secretary for Felicity. I was doing a lot of other things outside of just acads, and I think built me that great foundation of sort of wearing multiple hats at different points. Similarly, when I went to consulting, worked with clients from across 10 countries, worked with people from different cultures. I think, entrepreneurship is all about being able to wear different hats at different points. You're not into one function, right? You're trying to solve multiple threads, problems at the same time. So I think that, if frankly, you don't need to prepare for internship. That's not how entrepreneurship is done. The ability to solve multiple problems, wearing multiple hats, being able to multitask, those are things that make you a great entrepreneur. And as far as your foundation is right, as far as you have those roles and opportunities in your academic and professional career, I think you can be a great entrepreneur. Of course, it needs a little bit of a capital, some support, you mentors and all of that, right? But that everyone has their own set of mentors and ways of getting capital. So that's on entrepreneurship. Cherished moments from Triple IT, there are a lot, frankly. Everything from doing one of the first cultural plays at Triple IT to I remember moments where every time I would walk out of the signal and systems class, I would think I would just flunk this lecture and course. So there have been hard moments like those. I still don't know what we did. I just barely managed to pass.
I almost planted for what it's worth.
No, I think our professor was great because he just didn't let people fail, right? Otherwise, I would not have passed that lecture. Right? So there have been moments like those. I've had disciplinary committee. It's been about 15 odd years now, so I can now say hopefully no one's going to put me in jail. But I had a disciplinary action for ragging our junior batch. I went to sort of PT class with my junior batch as a punishment to doing that. It wasn't ragging, but it was like soft ragging, asking them to sing and dance, right?
I think we should move on to the next person. I think this might land you in trouble.
I had lots of cherished moments from Triple IT. As a class representative, I was representing our class all the time, talking to professors, negotiating with them. I've had some very tough conversations, again, to an extent where I could have, had some hard actions. But yes, to your point, I think I should just shut my mouth now. But lots of cherished moments.
Kritika, how about you? Quickly, maybe in less than 10 seconds or something, most cherished moment. And
I think one of the most cherished moments would be Professor Call's lecture. So I would carry a bunch of 20 pens because the entire rows in front of me and behind me would borrow a pen, and I had to ensure that I would keep one pen for Professor Call because he would, say attendance, is there a pen? And the same class, you sitting right in front of me, your head bobbing up and down in sleep, and I'm, kind of hitting, saying, don't disturb my notes. So I think beautiful memories.
Yeah, those are some of my first memories as well. And I think I owe you maybe 200 pence at this point. But that's a story for another day. Rajesh, how about you?
So I think like in Triple IT, so there was like, so as Kritika mentioned, there was lots of freedom. So like roaming around the campus with friends and like late night and in the college, different gangs, overnight chit chat, different birthday bumps. There are many things. So the crazy night, like in the birthday bumps, people like going crazy, like throwing waters and uh, holy celebration in the college ground. So there are many moments. It was like crazy 4 years. So we had lots of lectures, classes, but at the same time we did lots of uh, fun things as well. So those are my cherished memories. So like me and Kanch sitting together and uh, like like uh, talking a lot of things, and plus watching movies and like I did so many things we can talk about.
I still have
I
videos of
remember.
those, Rajesh. I still have videos of those days we used to sing and dance in the college. Anyways, Inder, what is your most cherished moment?
I think for me, I think a lot of what you said I can relate to. Birthday bumps, holy celebrations. I think, but for me, I think I spent a lot of my time on football pitch and other sport pitches in Triple IT because I played football for Triple IT, but I played cricket, basketball, athletics for my house team as well. I think we probably made, by the time we got to third year, we had a very, very solid Triple IT football team, and we could compete with any Hyderabad college and beat them. So I think for me, I think how we nurtured the sports culture and how our batch also helped nurture that, I think some of the moments that I can never forget. And yeah, so for me, I think getting into sports and representing Triple IT are some of the moments that I remember the most. All
You
right,
really
so
did.
I think
You really did leave a mark on football, Inder. In fact, I was watching the YouTube channel comments live right now, and one of the people actually said, "Hope you're enjoying your football, Inder." So you did leave a mark back from then.
I'm enjoying watching football. Let's put it that way. All right. I think we need to cut to the Q&A. I wish we could go longer, but there are a few questions here that I do want to get to. I think the first question, and we'll start there, is what's the size of the company presently, and what kind of growth did you guys have? Where did you start and where you are today?
Maybe I'll take that question, and maybe the next question, Rajesh and Kritika can take. We are a 220-member team now, based in 8 locations. Our clients are in 6 countries: India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Indonesia. We are gearing up for the US market now. That's where we are. We've been growing about 3x over the last few years. A lot of the growth is a factor of course, external environment like COVID. One part of a business grew 5x in COVID. Another part of a business shrunk in COVID. So there've been lots of sort of external environments that lead to ups and downs. And of course, capital is a important contributor of growth as well. Being able to hire more sales guys, being able to cover more regions, being able to cover more customers, being able to overinvest in building products, and so on and so forth. But that's a quick summary of where we are.
Great. Thank you. And I'm trying to circle through as many questions as I can, so we'll probably go a little fast. So I think the next question is, who are THP's competitors? Do you have to do anything to be a global company, or are you ready for it?
Rajesh?
So the space that we are covering in India, so there are a few companies who work in healthcare analytics space who are our competitors, like HealthMix, and then there are companies who are working with pharma companies and providing RW studies. So those are the kind of people who are our competitors. If there are people who are working on the healthcare CRM. Those are our competitors. So there are a few companies over there in that space. And in terms of global, so we are like going global. So we are already working in multiple countries. We are in UAE region, we are in Indonesia, Sri Lanka. So there are many countries in Asia Pacific and Australasia region where we are working. We have clients over there and we are expanding.
Great. Thank you. And I think probably a related question on expansion. I'm assuming that as you're expanding, you're hiring more and more talent from different colleges, etc. I think the question is, anything you wish IIIT would teach its new batch of students, so that, like, when you're looking for talent from the market, what are you looking for, and how can IIIT inculcate that as part of their program?
I think that's
Kritika.
best taken by I think that's best taken by Rajesh.
So currently, so when hiring, generally I look at practical experience in people. The kind of job profile we are looking for, be it analytics, be it the web stack development, data pipeline. So first of all, the fundamentals has to be strong. They should know what we are working on, like what kind of memory issues, what kind of scale issues they can have. So and of course, the cloud in these days, clouds have become integral part of the solutioning. So cloud can be one of the could be extra courses people could work on. I'm sure big data, machine learning is already part of the curriculum. The big data pipelines would also be part of the Spark clusters and Hadoop and other things. If that is not there already. And then the rigor to actually the main part is rigor to learn. How fast can you bring yourself up on the new stack, new platform? Because that is the main part of technology these days. The fundamentals has to be strong. You should be able to think because everything boils down to fundamentals when you look at any big platform, big stack. So that is the first thing. Secondly, the ability and interest to learn, that has to be there. Then the third piece is like how quickly you can come on board. So that is finally your profile, what you have done previously. So these are
the one point I'll add is, and I think Rajesh articulated it very well, that it needs to have some practical experience, it needs to have cloud experience, it needs to have the zeal to work in an early stage, fast moving environment. Right? But I think if you specifically ask that question, what could IIIT do more? I think the one point I'd say is that I think CTOs like Rajesh and people who've worked in a very hard rigor environment, right? I think some of those guys can just come and sort of tell folks what is it to work in a practical environment in a fast moving early stage environment. I think some of those things would make a big difference. But I'm sure
Rajesh, I'll add one more thing over there. So the one more thing, final thing generally I look at any candidate, kind of ownership, the kind of ownership they can take. There are folks who can sort of maybe go deeper, maybe they can solve very challenging problem, but they cannot take the entire ownership of the ultimately for whatever you're doing, it is the end delivery that matters. It doesn't matter how optimized your algorithm is, how good you're solving the current problem, and doesn't matter as long as it is not delivered on time. It is not delivered in the right fashion. It doesn't matter. So you have to be able to think practically, like the common sense should be there. What actually makes sense, what does not make sense. Sometimes while trying to solve problem, you go so deeper into the problem that actually the problem itself gets lost. Right. So like some of the practical case studies can also be carried out, so that people can start thinking from a bigger lens, from like different level, rather than looking at very closely. You have to look at a different level. You have to look at closely also. You have to look from far also, that what makes sense but does not make sense. And you have to achieve this in 1 month, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, but you have to cut out basically.
So more, if I synthesize, more experiential learning and stuff. Sorry, go ahead, Akash.
No, absolutely. Sorry, I was just saying that I know we are slightly past the time clock, but the one point that I wanted to say was everything that Rajesh has said I've captured in a notepad, and I'll use the forum to call out saying if there are any IIIT students and alumni who may be keen on hardcore healthcare data technology solutions and problems, just write to rajesh@thb.co.in. Trust me, there's some very exciting technology work that's happening, and I think we can contribute to your learning. So I'm just going to use this forum to call that out.
Awesome. Thanks, Akansh. So I think I'm getting a lot of messages to now close up. So, and we're 2 minutes above the allotted time. So first of all, I want to thank Meenakshi ma'am and Munira ma'am for organizing and for getting us all together. It's awesome to connect back with the IIIT family. Professor Kaul, Professor Vishal Garg, thank you for joining, and Professor Kaul, thank you for opening. And last but not the least, Kritika, Akansh, Rajesh, always awesome to catch up with you, and thank you for your time, and it was wonderful chatting, and I wish you all the luck for the future growth of the company, and thank you everybody for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed, and yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Inder, and thank you, Meenakshi, for setting this up. Thank you, Dr. Kaul. Thank you, Dr. Vishal. Thank you, Munira, Shrikant, for setting this up. It's been, I think, this is probably the first such session we've done where we've kind of opened our hearts out. Hopefully, more of these. But thank you, everyone, for making it happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Inder. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.